Okay, so welcome to the webinar, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. I know we've got a handful more people registered for this, a few hundred people registered, so I imagine people keep trickling in. I am recording this, so the recording will be sent to you guys. I'm also going to get it up on YouTube. Um, and if you guys continue to have questions, you can go and put them in, the question like April added it to the Q&A, or you can post it in the chat. That's my wife letting my dog in because he's a pit bull and he's attached to me. So he's very concerned that I'm in here. He'll probably be coming in and out. He's going to realize there's nothing exciting happening in here, and then he's going to want out of the office. What's up, honey? Oh, thank you. I was going to ask you to do that. Okay. All right. Yeah. There's a lot of uncertainty right now, guys. So anyways, if you have questions, post them in the chat, post them in the Q&A as we go. So I've got a little bit of, it's not going to be a long presentation. It's going to be pretty short just to anchor some main points that we're going to be talking about. So I'm going to go through that first, and then I'm going to just start rattling off on a bunch of the questions that people have sent in. All right. So there's a lot to this thing. I've spent pretty much the last 5 days. This is all I've been doing, and keeping my head's been buried in this. There's several different companies I run. A lot of things are changing, and they're changing fast. We had a conference call with my business partners on Thursday. We had a company-wide call on Friday. By Sunday morning, everything we talked about Thursday and Friday was virtually irrelevant. We ended up laying off 75% of our staff from Painter Choice. Our leads have plummeted. But everything was really good through last week. So it's really changing day to day. So I've been really buried in this. I've been talking to lots of business owners, both good friends, painting business pro folks, other leaders in the industry. And so I'm prefacing that because we're going to kind of bounce around to a lot of different things. And by the end of this, my intention is that you've got some clarity. One thing that's happening right now is there's a lot of emotion around this, and not necessarily positive emotion. And the actions to take and what is happening, and the emotion and the dramatic emotion or the panic don't need to go together. And so there's nobody really knows what to expect. Nobody knows what's going to happen. A week ago today, the NBA was still in season. And a week ago today is when the NBA suspended their season. The next day, a bunch of other things fell. The next day, it was 200 gatherings at 250. The next day, this thing has progressed really quickly. So there's a lot of different points, and there's a lot of uncertainty with what's going to happen. So we're going to go through this whole thing. And what I really want for you guys is to be able to take a very responsible approach to what's coming. And we don't know what's coming. And what I've found value in spending a lot of time thinking through a lot of this stuff is I know exactly what I'm going to do no matter what happens. So I've got a lot of certainty around what I'm doing now, what I'm going to be doing. And if it gets really bad, which it could, and by really bad I mean if our businesses are shut down completely from being able to do business for an extended period of time and zero money is coming in, that's really bad. And in the event that it's really bad, it's going to be really bad for everybody. And in a weird way, I've said this a lot this week, but if we're all fucked, in a weird way, nobody's fucked. It's kind of like we're all on pause. So I would encourage you guys to kind of set emotion and worry and anxiety and fear aside and bring a very, thoughtful approach to this thing. And I think that'll really provide you with something. So we're going to look at, just kind of what's the reality we're dealing with here. What are we, and kind of what is the wide range of outcomes for us to consider and think through. So I've got a list of tons of questions people brought up, so we're going to dive into that. But first, we're going to get into this this outline. Again, this is just kind of some anchor points. All right. So whatever, I've got a normal presentation. You're managing your business during uncertain times, how to handle COVID-19, be prepared and be responsible as a business owner. So these are kind of the main points we're going to look at quick before we get into just a discussion and conversation and answering questions and getting into the weeds. We're going to hit some high level stuff. The reality we're dealing with. We're just going to take a look at the reality of it. Not my opinion, not your opinion, not anybody's opinion. Just what's the part that's reality? That, like, regardless of opinion, there's a reality. And what is that reality we're dealing with? What are we doing? Like, what are we doing as a company? I'm just going to share with you guys that. Like, here's what I'm doing. What to do now. We're going to talk a little bit about what to do now. And by the way, I don't assume to know answers. This is more like a question to be asking ourselves. Because honestly, if you're watching this webinar is happening on Wednesday. If you watch it on Friday, whatever we talk about to do now can completely change. And so we want to be thinking about what is the reality right now and what are the different ranges of outcomes and how are we going to adjust as things progress. So we'll address a little bit about what to do now. What do we do in, worst case scenario where we've got to shut down? Because the reality is at the end of all of this, there are some opportunities that will be created out of any economic downturn or economic recession. So we'll talk a little bit about the opportunity and how we can capitalize on that coming out the other side. And then we'll have questions and discussion. So the reality that we're dealing with, we don't know. Nobody knows. It'll be interesting what, history says about this, when we get after it, but there's a very wide range of outcomes that can happen. Okay. So we know what's happening right now, at least in Colorado. I think it's the same way in most communities, most states, most countries worldwide are dealing with a very similar thing. And so we know right now that, for us at least, like we're still doing some business, but it's definitely trimming down here. Things are slowing down for sure. More each day. And I can see that, from Painter Choice. I can see it with my painting companies. And I can hear from contractors in other places. So let me think here how I want to go about this. What I would recommend doing, and I think it's important that we look at like, hey, what can kind of happen here? And I think, so right now we've got bars and restaurants just got closed in Colorado until May 11th. So it's an 8-week closure of bars and restaurants. We want to be looking at like, hey, what are patterns and what's kind of predictable here? So if we look at Italy, France, those places led to closure of non-essential business. We look at San Francisco. If there's anybody from San Francisco here, please give me the specifics. But as far as I know, there's a bit of a mandatory lockdown and curfews and some things in place. I'm friends with a lot of people on Facebook, and I know one guy's an electrician. So just a lot of contractors on Facebook, and one guy's an electrician said he's an authorized person to be out, but they're, starting to arrest people who are out when you're not supposed to be out. So half the paint stores are closed there. And what it looks like is, if we just look at patterns, what it looks like is it's going to get worse before it gets better. And so, we want to be thinking as a business owner about some of those worst case scenarios. And if it gets really bad and we end up closing things down for 8 weeks, or we end up not being able to paint, or customers stop wanting us to paint, right? That's the reality. Is the worst case scenarios we're no longer able to bring in income for an extended period of time. And the last Friday, my worst case scenario was like, if things slow down for a couple months. And then it was like, if things actually totally shut down for 2 or 3 months. And it's like, if things close down and then like take forever to get going again. And how long this can stick around, we really don't know. So we want to really think about the wide range of outcomes. Just one is like, hopefully it's all good. Like, I hope everything, passes pretty quickly and we get back to doing business. And if that's the case, rock on. But if it's not the case, I also want to be prepared. So we got to really be two-headed about this thing, where we're looking at, hey, if things are good, good. But if they're bad, I want to make sure I'm prepared. So the longer this thing lasts and the worse it is, the more people are losing their jobs, the more people aren't going to have income. And, the government's going to deal with that. In Italy, they're not making people pay their mortgages and their house payments. In the US, they're talking about sending people money. They're talking about forgiving, eliminating all evictions temporarily. Like, this is going to impact everybody. And it's certainly going to impact the economy and all that stuff too. So the worse this thing is, there's going to be a lot of opportunities on the other side. There's going to be a lot of opportunities to start businesses. There's going to be a lot of people who need jobs. We'll talk about that a little bit. But the bottom line is, we don't know what we're dealing with. There's a really wide range of outcomes. We do know some patterns that are happening. Most likely, Robert can tell you, Washington can probably tell us some things about what's going to come to other places. So I think it's just important that we're looking at like, hey, this is probably it is going to get worse before it gets better. And we want to be prepared for that. So I'm going to just cover a few things I would recommend people are doing. This is what I'm telling my team. This is what I'm telling my partners. This is what I'm doing myself. Is number one is, I would, again, before I even get into this, guys, preparing for the worst and panicking don't need to go together. Panic is not going to provide anything. We just got to think through it. And that's why I mentioned, if everybody's fucked, nobody's fucked. All right. Nobody's going to be screwed out of this. All right. We're all in this together globally. All right. It's like, it's all happening to all of us. Okay. So we're just all kind of putting a pause on, hey, we're not going and attacking things right now. We got to pause, survive, get through this thing. And then we'll get back to things at some point. It will pass and we will get back to things as normal. Okay. So we got to realize that no matter what happens, we're all going to be fine because we're all in this together. All right. So just keep that in mind as we go forward, because I think it's really important that, we're prepared and smart about it and know that like it will turn out. One of our best friends, Natalia, she officiated our wedding. She lives in Puerto Rico. My wife's maid of honor on our wedding and our officiant. She lives in Puerto Rico. And when they got hit by the hurricane, people down there, nobody was working for like 12 months. It was just, and look, afterwards, she's doing better after the thing than she was before from a financial and business, work standpoint and everything. They got by. I don't know how. I'm kind of curious, like what happened when everything on that island shut down for 12 months. But the point is that we will be fine. Everything will be fine. And so knowing that we're going to be fine, we want to see how can we be really prudent and responsible and smart about this. So the first thing is you first, personal first. Are you prepared? And do you have a plan personally? Do you have food? Have you thought that through? How, are you managing your health and making sure you stay healthy and the people you care about stay healthy? And, how are you doing from a cash and financial standpoint? Assuming, how are you doing personally? So keep your business and your personal separate. Just if we look at you, how much cash do you have? And what would happen if you lost income for an extended period of time? And you just want to think that through. And I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm saying it could happen. And if it happens, you want to be prepared. So you just want to know. And what you want to also look at from a personal standpoint is what would be backup plans. So before it even happens, what would you do? Are there people you could borrow money from? Can you refinance your house and take out some cash? Should you start applying for any government assistance right now? If I'm going to not have any money, then I'm going to start looking to friends or family or people I can ask for help. I'm obviously going to start. I've already started and I told my team to start. Cut some expenses, things that are unnecessary. I get a subscription to Athletic Greens. It's like a, green powder I drink every day in the morning and I'm overstocked on it. So I just pause that subscription for the time being. Right. So you want to look at where can I cut unnecessary spending? Where can I make sure I save up cash? Where can I be really prudent with my own financial and economic situation? So take a few minutes, take a half hour, an hour, and think through that, and just know that cash is going to be really important in an economic downturn, no matter what, and no matter how long this lasts. So think through that first, and don't take just don't take this thing lightly. That seems to be one of the themes and places that this is hitting before us, is everyone underestimated the impact it would have, which has made the impact worse. The second thing you want to think about is your business. Okay, so what's your plan to make sure you have a business when this is over? So, I'll just tell you what I'm doing. We've got a lot of overhead. I laid off 3/4 of our staff at Painter Choice on Monday, and that's a real bummer. But based on what's happened since Monday and what we're seeing in our leads and stuff, that was necessary. We wouldn't have a business. We'd go bankrupt if we hadn't made that call. We wouldn't last much longer, or I'd be taking all my personal savings, which I don't have tons, and dumping it in, because I'm reinvesting all my money into my businesses for the last few years. So I've got all my money wrapped up in business. So cutting costs, I'm looking at my business. I'm cutting costs that are unnecessary right now. I already called my SEO and website guy and said, hey man, start hitting up restaurants and helping them come online, help getting them set up their online ordering, because I am already going to need to cancel one of my company's SEO with you temporarily. And I'm probably going to have to not pay you next month, or pay you at least half or something, or give you an IOU, something like that. So we're looking at literally every single cost in our business right now. And if things happen, what am I going to do? What costs can I cut? What can I eliminate? What can I ask for an extension on? How can I leverage credit so that I can maximize cash flow? The second thing I'm looking at is my team and employees. At Foothills Painting, we have, payroll this week was $26,000. Most of that is salary. Almost all of that is salary. So, I'm looking at how much cash do I have, and how long could I pay people if money totally stopped coming in. How long will I be able to pay people before I have to lay people off? And I'm letting my team know, like, hey, be ready for a loss of income, and this is how things would go. And just kind of giving them a heads up on, like, hey, just be aware, be smart, be prudent, be vigilant about this. We're also looking at how can we access capital. So in the event of the worst, we've got $40,000 in our account. Our payroll is $2,500 a week. So, and I can pay out about $25,000-$30,000 before I have 10 grand left. That 10 grand will cover my expenses I can't eliminate for 10 months. And if that happened, I can access more money over here to inject in the business to make sure I have a business when it's all over. The most important value you can provide to employees is a job when this is over. The worse this is, the more valuable a job is going to be. So I'm making sure that my business is going to be healthy and standing and able to provide the second this thing is over, whether that's in 2 months or 6 months or whatever it may be, or maybe 2 weeks. Maybe we'll just keep producing all the way through it. I don't know, but I'm making sure that if we go best case scenario, I'm good. If we go middle of the road, I'm good. If we go absolute worst case scenario, I'm good. And the reality is we'll talk to our team. We're taking it week by week and day by day with, like, hey, if we do get shut down, I know I've got at least 4 weeks I can pay people easily. So then I'll talk to them and say, hey, we're going to maybe reduce salaries. You're going to do some work from home. We'll talk about that. And we're going to reduce those so that you can make more than you would from unemployment insurance, but you still get a check coming in, but it can extend our runway of paying you. And then if we get to this point, then we're going to access some debt. And then if we get to that point, then we'll have to start laying people off and helping you get unemployment insurance so that when it's over, we can employ you again and give you a high paying job again. And we'll get to how the opportunity when this is over. And there's a huge opportunity for companies that are prepared for when it's over to grow really quickly and, recruit great people. There's going to be a lot of opportunity. So it's important that we're managing our personal first, and we have backup plans, and we know what we're going to do in each situation. It's important that we're managing our business and we know what we could do in each situation. And then, so now the question is, okay, great. So now that I've taken the time to think through these different scenarios, what should we be doing right now? So literally, Carl works with Painting Business Pro. I'm like, Carl and I talked, and I'm like, hey man, how much savings you got? I'm okay to pay you for now, but if we get to a point where I can't pay you, just a heads up, I might not be able to. How much cash are you going to have? And I'll make it up to you. And, if we do have to pay our employees less, what I'm going to tell them is, look, if I pay you 10 grand less over 2 months, I'll pay you 10 grand more over the next 2 years as long as you keep working with me. I'll make that up to you over the next couple of years as long as you stay here. So I'm gonna make it right in the big picture. In the short term, we need to manage our costs and our cash flow effectively. So you need to think through these things. Don't be in denial about it. None of us know. And if none of the bad stuff happens, great. And it'll give you a lot of peace of mind to know that you've got a plan. Like I've got probably $100,000 of overhead a month, at least, just in payroll. Like I can't float that for very long. I've got to think that through. That was really stressful for the first 2 days until I got kind of a plan in place and got myself sorted out that, look, if I'm laying my employees off, there were a whole lot of people laid off before that. These airlines, Delta laid off 40%. They furloughed 40% of their people. Marriott just started furloughing employees. I let 3/4 of my Painter Choice staff go because I can't pay them. So and that's because we want to make sure Painter Choice stays in business, and we will. I've made certain that every single one of my companies will be standing at the end of this, no matter what. I've worked that out. But the point is that we're in a good position in the painting industry because we work with people one-on-one. And we're not restaurants, we're not bars, we're not social gatherings. We work with people one-on-one. We're going into the exterior season for the most part, unless you're Simon in New Zealand. But point is, there's lots of exterior work to be done, and we can do that work in a very safe, healthy way, following CDC guidelines and all of that. And look, whether you agree with this being a concern or not, a lot of people do. And you've got to be dealing with reality on this. And I'll give you my 2 cents on this at some point in this webinar. So, all right. So I think that's all I'll talk about with this for the moment. What to be doing right now is generating as much cash as possible. I would be cutting expenses, cutting unnecessary spending. Don't be overspending. I want to be keeping people working. I have responsibility as a business owner. I employ a lot of people. I want to be keeping people busy. I want to make sure they're still making money, and I want to be responsible. And there's a big world to be responsible about right now. One thing I got to be responsible for is making sure my employees are being smart with their own spending, their own saving, and they know what's coming. I've got a responsibility to my employees. I've got a responsibility to my homeowners so that they know what's happening. I've got a responsibility to public safety and public good. I'll tell you right now, guys, there are people probably on this webinar. There are people all over Facebook. There are people out there who aren't taking this seriously. And you know what? I agree. Like, I'm not super worried about getting sick myself. But the reality of this is the longer this thing spreads, the more people die. And we're not going to just let people die. We're not going to do it. It's not going to happen. So if you're like, hey, I don't believe in this, I think I should keep going on, it's going to hurt the economy more to shut down. So you just keep not following guidelines. What's going to happen is the government will not let just 1 million people die or whatever the number is. It's a lot of people. They're not going to let that happen. They're not going to let the hospitals get overrun. So the reality is we are going to get to a point where they need to shut things down. It's happening everywhere. This is just what's coming is shutting things down. The longer we wait to shut things down, the worse it gets, and the longer we will need to be shut down. So, from an economic standpoint, that's what I care about. That's why I've gotten really intense with my company about social distancing and being very, very smart about that, because that's for the greater good, which includes me. Making sure that no one in our company has any possibility of spreading this thing is a responsibility I have. And the sooner everybody takes that seriously, the sooner this thing can be over. And you can see that with how Norway handled it, with how Taiwan handled it, and how other countries have handled it. The swifter the response and the more drastic the response, the shorter and less economic impact there has been. So there is a responsibility to your people, to yourselves, to your customers, keeping people busy and generating as much cash as possible, as well as this stuff. So some of the things that we're doing at our company, and when we'll talk more about this, there are a lot of questions, so I'll dive into those questions in a minute. But one thing we're doing is a new offer to customers. So come on, buddy. Dog needed to join me again. There you go. All right, so we've got a new offer for customers. So here's what we're offering customers. 20% off to anybody who gets an estimate from us. We're offering up to 20% off. That's the first part of the offer. The second part is most of us guys in this industry, and this is probably different for everybody, but for us, most of our customers are not people who live paycheck to paycheck. They're people who have a real concern about the economy. I think most people right now have a concern about the virus and also have a huge concern about our economy. All you got to do is look around. People are really concerned about that. So I'm offering up to 20% off because the second part of my offer is we employ a lot of people and we're trying to keep people busy for as long as we can to keep an income to support themselves and their families and keep our economy strong as we can. And third part of the offer is we want to do this in the safest, most responsible way we possibly can. So here's how we're doing that. Interior estimates, we're not doing right now. We're recommending we don't come into any people's homes. If you do want an interior estimate, you can send us over your floor plan and we'll provide an estimate virtually. And if my estimate is a little off because of that, I don't care right now. For interior painting, we're recommending all clients postpone interior projects indefinitely. If you're demanding that it gets done, we'll see if we have any crews that are comfortable doing it and we'll get it done for you. But we're going to send in a small crew. We're going to take our time. We're going to make sure nobody has, symptoms or anything like that, obviously. For exterior projects, we're not coming in the house. We recommend keeping at least we're going to follow CDC guidelines. We're going to keep at least 6 foot distance as we walk around the house with you. We're going to do our estimate on an iPad, email it over to you, and then we'll walk you through it. We'll just keep a safe distance. For painting exteriors, obviously we're on the outside of the house. When we finish the job, our project manager will walk the house, do a final inspection, and then walk you around. We'll keep it a safe distance, following CDC guidelines. So that's our offer to customers right now. 20% off, keep our economy strong and people employed, and follow CDC guidelines and precautions. So that's what we're doing right now. Now, as far as marketing, we've suspended all door-to-door marketing, including dropping flyers, anything going door-to-door. Again, because I think that's what's needed for the greater good and getting our economy back faster is stopping spreading anything. Now, look, I work with door-to-door experts and Sam Taggart, who runs door-to-door experts, and he's saying there's like 2 groups of people. Some people are stopping, some people are still knocking doors, and they're doing it with gloves and masks, and they're standing way back from the door and all that stuff. So the reason I'm not doing that is, first of all, I think it's going to turn out that we're going to get shut down and we're going to get things more and more shut down because I think that's what's needed, given that's what all the other countries have done. That's what San Francisco started to do, right? So I think that's where we're heading. We're heading there because it's what's needed. So if that's what's needed, the sooner we all do it, the less the economic impact will be. So that's why I'm doing it. I think there's a social responsibility. But the other reason is we have customers, and there's a good percentage of people out there. Like if someone came to my door and was a big company in town and they came to my door right now, I probably would put them on the blacklist and never work with them again. And so I've got a reputation to protect. The third thing is this is developing really, really fast. And in a week, we're going to have a lot more information than we do now. So let's say I do send my guys out marketing door to door right now. We might generate an extra 40 or 50,000 in sales from doing that. We might generate no sales from doing that because maybe we can't even do estimates in a week. We might really damage our reputation. We might get people sick. And quite frankly, another 50,000 in sales, if this isn't that bad, we didn't need that sales anyways. And if this is really bad, that wasn't going to save us anyways. So we're sitting back and laying low for a week to see what develops. And we're thinking bigger picture here. We're also looking out for our team. So that's why we're not doing door to door. So what we are doing, we're sending out an email to all past customers, leads, and estimates. with the offer I went through with you, 20% off. We want to keep people busy. If you're interested in taking advantage of that, do it. Here's what we're doing. Here's our company policies and procedures right now. We're also calling a lot of old leads. Yesterday, we had like 350 old leads from last year that we haven't turned into estimates, and we set 3 or 4 estimates from them yesterday. We are running Facebook. I'm setting up Facebook ads. We're setting up profiles on Nextdoor and community bulletin boards and stuff. So we're trying to do anything we can do. We're also really working and leveraging our relationships with roofers, property managers, real estate agents, and we're calling them and saying, hey, any jobs you can push through right now, we're going down 20% off. And it's really gotten things in motion for us. Contacting clients, we're just being super proactive with everything in our company. We're preparing. We've made a list of like, hey, here's every single expense we have in the business, and here's the action we will take the second things slow down. And some of those things we're already taking proactive action, like calling my website and SEO guy. Hey man, might not be paying you next month. Might put this on hold completely. Calling. We're setting up more Sherwin-Williams credit accounts to start leveraging more credit. I'm emailing my line of credit guy to see how much I can leverage that line of credit. We're just looking at all the proactive stuff we can do. Obviously, we've updated policies and procedures and let customers know, stop door to door. So this is kind of where we're at. And then obviously a big one is we're tracking our money and collecting as many receivables and invoices as we can to get as much cash as we can. We're also doing research on unemployment insurance and how to help our teams get their unemployment insurance. So like we're doing the best we can with what we've got. We're still really serving customers, being responsible as we can to protect both our reputation for the greater good, and because that's what is working right now. And we're preparing for the worst. So we're just really being responsible. So it's a day-to-day thing right now. So that's kind of what we're doing. And so we're just going to kind of keep doing that one day at a time. And then we're obviously, of course, thinking through what are we going to do if things shut down or things get really, really slow? How do we still create value? Because look, if we look at 5 years, okay, if we look at a 5-year window, there's a certain amount of time you're going to spend on learning, education, and building systems. There's a certain amount of time you're going to spend on marketing your business, doing sales and production. If we get shut down, that's just going to reallocate that time a little. So front load and get really focused on education, learning, system development, getting your business organized. Really focus on that heavily so that when we get out of it, your business is literally better than before. Like that's what we're going to be doing. I'll show you real quick. Actually, here's my project management. This is how we use Basecamp. It's $99 a month for unlimited users and unlimited projects. And this is all the shit we're working on. So these are all the roles, right? So we're developing our business owner systems and SOPs, color consultant system marketing, office manager, production, sales, business development, Foothills team updates. We've got our whole National Painting Group HQ up here. And then we've got accounting and financial alignment, where I'm making sure our QuickBooks and our CRM are totally aligned and talking to each other. We're implementing vendors that are going to save us money. We're implementing wrapping colors vans and how we help customers pick colors more effectively. We got company branding, corporate structure, a training I'm working on, our CRM and fine tuning that, working on our customer experience, making everything digital, human resources, protocols and processes, our learning management system, Painting Business Pro stuff, working on our marketing mix, which actually we're working on right now. Recruiting processes, subcontractor success program, and website redesign. We're going to just work on all that stuff. Those are all things that will make our business better. Instead of working on them in like November and December heavily and a little bit all year, we'll just work on them really heavily for a month or two. And then when we come out of this, we're going to be ready to like go gangbusters. So what to do if if it slows down significantly is, first of all, guys, like enjoy it. Actually, I'm going to read you guys something that I think is pretty awesome. It was like something my wife came across. And the people stayed home and read books and listened and rested and exercised and made art and played games and learned new ways of being and were still and listened more deeply. Some meditated, some prayed, some danced, some met their shadows, and the people began to think differently, and the people healed. And in the absence of people living in ignorant, dangerous, mindless, and heartless ways, the earth began to heal. And when the danger passed and the people joined together again, they grieved their losses and made new choices and dreamed new images and created new ways to live and heal the earth fully as they had been healed. It's a quote from Kitty O'Meara. And I think there's an opportunity there for that. I know I'm going to be, things really slow down. I'm going to spend more time with my wife and daughter, and I'm going to sleep in, and I'm going to eat well, and I'm going to go for a run every day, and I'm going to spend time with people I care about once I know they don't have corona. I'm going to read books. I'm going to spend a lot of time on this number 3, developing systems, doing the important work that you never get to when things are busy and hectic. You guys ever seen the urgent versus important chart? There's I can't draw it or whatever, but I'll show you quick actually. So it's this decision matrix, right? So here we go. So it's weak. Okay. So this is the chart, okay? So there's stuff that's urgent and it's important. This is the stuff that you do. This is like a client called and they're pissed off. That's urgent and it's important. And then there's stuff that's urgent, but it's not important. And this is kind of a waste of time and things people this is what like going to the paint store, like, hey, I ran out of paint, and you run over to the paint store for your team, right? Like that's urgent, but it's not important. They can go do it. And then there's not important, not urgent, you should never do. But this category right here, important, but it's not urgent. Reevaluating and rebuilding your sales process could be worth tens of thousands of dollars in profit a year for you, but it's never going to be urgent. Really understanding how to make a really good business plan. And those of you who have the course, it's that master business plan. Really understanding that and taking time to build a really good business plan could make you tens of thousands of dollars, but it's not urgent. So there's an opportunity when we can't do the urgent stuff to do the important stuff. Educate yourself, learn and get better. I ordered some books before this all went down that I'm going to work on and read and study. And essentially, when this is over, be stronger. And when that's what this is a lot of the opportunity here. A lot of people won't be taking advantage of any downtime. So of course we don't want it. We're going to keep getting after as long as we can in a smart and responsible way. But in the event that there's downtime, which some people are already probably experiencing some downtime, these are the things that are going to set you up to be stronger afterwards. This is when you have the opportunity to work on your business and not in your business. All right, so here's the opportunities. If this thing doesn't get really bad and you're prepared, okay, great. Well, you took a little bit of time to prepare. You got some peace of mind out of it. Business goes on. If it gets really bad, the people who prepared will be in the best shape. And if everybody, as I said before, if everyone's screwed, nobody's screwed. We're all going to be just fine. Everyone's going to be fine. If I got to lay people off, they'll be fine. There's already been tons and tons of layoffs. Everyone is going to be fine. We're just not going to be crushing it right now. We're just kind of all on pause till this passes, and it shall pass. So use this time to be stronger. That's if it's really bad. The worse this gets, because all right, we've got two huge outcomes. It could be not too bad. We're over it pretty quick, back to normal. Economy comes back quickly because, by the way, side point, but the thing that's kind of nice about this recession is it's not because there's some systemic issue and fundamental flaw in the banking sector like there was before. There was no significant issues with our economy, except that maybe it was overinflated and propped up a little bit. But a lot of this is due to business can't be getting done right now because there's this virus going around. When the virus is gone, business starts picking up again. Like I will immediately be knocking doors again and generating business, right? So there is a lot of speculation that the economy bounces back better, but that's a side point. So the worst, we've got big outcomes, big wide range of outcomes. The worse it gets, Decker, no, someone's at our door. No, chill, lay down. Lay down, buddy. It's okay, come here. Yeah. He's a good guard dog. He's a little pit bull, very scary, the sweetest little guy in the world. All right, so the worse this thing gets, the more there's opportunities afterwards, the more time you have to prepare. And the most valuable thing that can be offered after this is owning a business and providing jobs to people. And how we're going to go bonkers after this thing is we are going to immediately start knocking doors and generating a tremendous amount of business and estimates, because there's going to be people who go out of business. So there's fewer competitors out there. There's going to be more people who lose their jobs. So there's going to be really talented people out there who need a job. So supply and demand is going to shift the market. People are going to be willing to work for less money, which means I can lower prices to help bring that supply and demand curve down for clients. So I can lower my prices because people work for less, and they can work for less because other people are lowering prices because other people are willing to work for less. So the economy just shrinks a little bit, but there's still going to be an absolutely enormous amount of business being done in the painting industry because all the same houses are out there and they all need to be painted just as bad. And if it's slow for a longer period of time, that just delays how many houses need to be painted. And if I'm going to be someone who is sitting back waiting for my phone to ring, then yeah, it's going to be a slow build again. But if I'm someone who's going to get really aggressive with door to door, and I'm going to be prepared with a way better system coming into the business when I come in, when this thing's over, I've got all the advantage. And by the way, guys, there is this idea that like all the middle class, I saw this on a post with a couple really super smart people. And I know that one guy's talking about how much this hurts the middle class. The other guy made a really good point that, in fact, it's the really big businesses that get hit the hardest right now. If I wasn't really smart about this, it could put me out of business, and there will be people who go out of business. And a lot of the big businesses get crushed. There's actually going to be an opening and an opportunity. And by the way, guys, in our industry, there are a lot of people who do not have any business professionalism or business savvy. And I hate to say it, it's kind of a bummer. I've been saying it for a long time that you got to start to put some business savvy into your painting company, but there's a lot of guys in this industry that don't do that. And those people are going to feel it. So there's going to be a lot of opportunity, and a big opportunity in that is door to door. So I'm going to stop there. Actually, I'll just hit on these real quick. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but basically one thing I'm doing is, I don't want this to seem, so anyways, I've got 3 programs. Okay. So we've got Painting Business Pro and Growth. I'm going to discount everything for now. This is not something I plan on doing, or I plan on doing, but I think it makes sense to do. It's kind of the same thing we're doing with our customers. And what I think a lot of people should be doing is bringing prices down and keeping things moving. So I do think it's really valuable to work on your business in the next couple of months as things are slower. I think that's really, really valuable. If you can't afford my programs, don't spend money on them. Okay. But Painting Business Pro is a great place for you to build the foundational systems in your business planning, marketing, estimating, sales, production, admin, strategy, all the scripts. You can build your systems, build your SOPs, go through the course, really understand that. So that's what Painting Business Pro covers. Growth includes this, and it's the team building stuff. So it's our recruiting systems, job posts, interview scripts, employment agreements, training procedures, managing people. All right, so those are two courses you can look into. And then the third is Sales Mastery. This is how I train my team. It's basically ongoing, never-ending training, right? So we're going to go into a lot more depth so that, I'll train you on the initial call, and you'll do the initial call to schedule estimates. And then I'm going to work with you on a lot more depth on that. What's in this program, I'm not going to go through the schedule right now, but basically we just drip a ton of stuff out to you. So there's 4 sessions on door-to-door training. That is really, really in-depth and detailed. There's a lot more in-depth sales training. There's a monthly live webinar with me. There's a monthly live Q&A. Actually, it's tomorrow. There's seasonal selling training. So throughout the year, you should change your sales process a little based on the season. And there's bonus trainings. So I'm going to be doing a lot, obviously, in the next couple months, a lot of bonus trainings and these live webinars, working people through this whole thing. So when you sign up, you're going to get, like, every week, we're going to send you, hey, here's another webinar, here's another webinar, here's another training, here's another thing, here's the live one, like that. And so normally Painting Business Pro, these are all like 20 to 25% off. Painting Business Pro is normally $997. I'm doing $797. Normally it's 4 payments of $297. Right now we're just going to do 3. If you just bought the program and you're like, damn it, just email me. We'll take care of you guys. Growth, normally it's $1497. Right now it's $1297. It's 20% off, or normally it's 4 payments. Now it's 3. Sales Mastery is normally $1,200 for the year, or $100 a month. So that one's pretty discounted. So this would be, those are your options. I'll include links in an email I send out. So now I'm going to jump into some of these questions that people have. So as you guys go, if you've got questions, let me take a look at the chat real quick, actually. Okay, so there's a lot of fucking quick. Okay. How are you getting your offer to customers? Mostly right now, we're getting our offer out to customers by when they call in, or if we already have the estimate set, we're calling and updating them. We're gonna run some Facebook ads. We're gonna run some ads on Nextdoor. We're physically calling people, and we're sending out a mass email. Glenn, you joined about 30 minutes after I started. And so we're small and new enough to where we don't have employees, so we're okay through this. But I think you're right. This is a great time to learn more and develop our company. Yeah. So if that's the nice thing about being a smaller company right now is you can cut all your overhead really fast. So shutting down, it's not like you're bleeding money, right? So it's just 20, Bruce. It would just be 20% off. So normally we do 10. Now we do 20. And the way we're doing it, Bruce, is we're doing, instead of 5% for scheduling, 5% for today, it's just 10 and 10. That's a great question, Jacob. I'll come back to that one. So let me hammer through some of these questions that you guys had submitted. So what does the data show from the last recession? How long before homeowners wanted to spend money on home improvements? The answer is they never stopped. It just was lower. There was less demand. There were fewer projects happening. But there were also companies that went out of business. And this question here is why I think it's so important that you have some kind of aggressive strategy for generating business. And there's basically 2. One of them is door-to-door marketing. The other one is door-to-door marketing, but for relationships. So what I mean by that is contacting property management companies and real estate companies and roofing companies and GCs and homeowners associations. All right, we did 16 estimates last week just from our relationships. All right, so you've got to have an aggressive strategy, and again, that's some of the stuff like that I'm training people on. So this eliminates the need for that question if you've got an aggressive strategy. Markets that'll be least affected, I have no clue. And again, I don't care about that, because the way that I run my business and the way I teach people to run this business is you set your goal, you make your business plan, right? So your business plan is, I need this many leads a week, this many estimates a week, this many jobs booked, and this much sales per week. That's my business plan. And then I go make it happen. How affected the market is, that's an even playing field for everyone in my market. And I don't even care about my competitors. All I am worried about is my numbers. And I've got the advantage because the second I can knock doors again, I can be doing 60 estimates a week again or 80 estimates a week. It doesn't matter. You know, we were getting maybe 25 call-ins a week, Foothills, 25 call-ins a week. If that drops to 10, I'll just hire another door-to-door marketer and I'll make up those 15. So it doesn't matter, right? For me, that's my take on it. Now, if you're someone that is going to sit back, then yeah, like you're kind of at the effect of the market. I don't recommend doing that. I don't have much advice for you. My advice is don't be at the effect of the market. There's going to be lots of painting still being done. And there's going to be less competition, which means there's going to be more painters who need work, which means like all prices are going to drop, economy is going to shrink, but there's still going to be tons and tons of work happening in the numbers, the fundamentals of how you structure this business from a percentage standpoint. I bid this price, 50% goes out for labor materials, this percent goes to sales, this percent goes here, this goes here. The business structure is all the same. The business planning is all the same. It's just a smaller economy. There's less luxury spending, but home like remodeling is going to get hit harder than painting. People are doing like remodeling and additions to their home when things are booming. They're not doing that so much when things are small, but people do maintain their homes. What will be the hardest thing to overcome in the next 3 weeks, 3 months, and year? I think that it's probably what I talked about on this webinar. Making a plan and getting prepared for anything. Managing your mindset, managing the mental game. That's probably the hardest thing to overcome. But once you've thought through and made a plan, there's nothing hard. I think the impact on residential commercial, your guess is as good as mine. If I had to make a guess, I would say it'd probably be pretty similar. You know, there's going to be less in a down economy. There's going to be less building, less expansion. And so that'll hurt commercial a bit, but also residential. There are less customers who have money. There's going to be less people with jobs. Fortunately, most of the people that we service, you and me, we service in residential, are probably the people who are going to get hit a little less. Like, again, they're not the people living paycheck to paycheck. So they're going to be taking advantage of cheaper prices. That's why we lowered prices. George, we do still offer leads, man. They're $43 a lead, but they dropped off significantly, man. We were getting like 60 leads a day end of last week. We got 13 yesterday. We'll see how today goes. All right, door to door. I think, sorry. Is it now a good time to start a painting company? It's not a bad yes and no. You're okay to start it. Just know that just don't go and blow a bunch of money. Like, don't go spend a ton on marketing and you can't really go door to door. But you could start calling roofers and real estate agents and property managers, and you could start building your systems and getting prepared so that when it's over, you're ready to just hit the ground running. But there definitely have been better times to start a company. This any company part, I called my website an SEO guy and I'm like, hey man, I'm probably not gonna be able to pay you, but here's what you should do. Start hitting up every restaurant in Nashville. He lives in Tennessee. Start hitting up every restaurant in Nashville and offering to help them put their ordering and menus all online for online ordering. Like, just pivot. So that's a question I know down below as well. Door to door. I already told you why I'm not going door to door. If all your work comes from door to door, then you could keep going if you want. You're just risking making this worse. You're risking a reputation, which may not be a big deal. I'll leave that to you. There's not like a good answer to that. You can keep going door to door or not. And if you don't, try to find other ways to generate business. These were some questions about what to do now. Should we be focusing on our online presences, Facebook ads, Facebook Marketplace, posting ads on Nextdoor? Yes. Yes. Yes, for sure. And you guys probably have a lot more ideas that I didn't bring up. But yes. Should we pivot? Go start doing commercial, start going after leaks and repairs, outdoor work. I anything. I don't know. Try. See what's out there. Right? Like I think the key here is this is pretty unprecedented. There aren't answers already out there. But asking these kinds of questions is the kind of questions you should be asking. And it's more like a temporary pivot. I wouldn't totally like change your business, but temporarily you could. The reason I'm not worried about this is because my business is big enough that I would need to do so much volume for that to make any difference. I mean, we've got, even if we trim back payrolls and everything, I got like $15,000 to $20,000 going out every 2 weeks, right? 40 grand a month is just going out of our business. I'm not going to go and bring in 80,000 a month on something new like that. And we'll maybe look at that if we do get shut down as a group. So we'll see. But I would just look and see like what is the need? I think these are good questions to ask. I wish I had more answers for that right now. It's just not something I've been considering. I've been pretty busy with other stuff. We rely heavily on referrals and marketing that we do online and through platforms. Recently, we've seen a significant drop in leads. My question revolves around ideas to keep marketing going and leads coming in during this period of restricted movement. I think we've kind of hit on that. Get creative, see what you can do, call old clients, call roofers, call GCs, call property managers, call real estate agents, offer discounts, utilize anything online you can. Or you might just be like, okay, the first thing everyone should do is take a couple hours and think through, what am I going to do if income stops? Because that could happen tomorrow, guys. Like last week, right now, the NBA still had a season. You just got to get how fast this stuff is changing. Don't wait another day to plan. Think through it now. And then, then you don't need to worry about this. It's like right now, it's like all upside for us. Anything we book and generate, it's upside. It's not from a place of scarcity. It's not from a place of survival. It's like, I already know if we got shut down tomorrow, I know I've got the plan. I know what we'll do. It's no fun, but if we're getting shut down, everybody's getting shut down. If I'm laying people off, everybody's laying people off. And by the way, when I lay people off, I'm not making money either. I'm just making sure I've got a job for them when this is over. And that's my promise to people. Let's see. Ideas on how to approach businesses while they're closed and offer discounts to pay. There's no ideas. I would just start calling. Yeah, I would just start calling. I definitely would offer discounts and, start calling businesses for sure. There's people who will want to take it. There are people who will want to take advantage of discounts during this time. The 20% off has been a hit with our customers, has helped us keep a lot of sales going. Let's see. Decker, stay here. Doorbell. Decker. Stay here, buddy. Hang tight. Okay. Let's see what to do now. Preparation for after it's over. So new systems for interior paint services with state-of-the-art cleaning, technology, help keep homeowners safe. I'm going to take this out. New systems for interior paint services with state-of-the-art cleaning, technology to help keep homeowners safe. Exterior systems with no human contact. I don't know if these are going to be huge concerns or not afterward. I don't think people are going to be worried about human contact after this or not. But for sure, working on new systems is good. New business that support the shut-in economy, all good ideas, all things you guys can think about. There will be opportunities. The longer this lasts, the more I will be thinking about new opportunities because I'm going to have plenty of time on my hands. If it's fairly short-lived and we start getting back to things in a couple months, we start which looks like it's a possibility. I saw a post full of good news today too on all the progress that's being made, that they're closing down some of the coronavirus hospitals in China because they just don't need them anymore. So there is some hope here that it's not going to be crazy bad. And the shorter this lasts, the less long-term impact it'll have. The longer it lasts, the more time I'm going to spend thinking about other opportunities and other businesses and things like that. My concern is with the global recession around the corner, not being able to control the flow of leads, how will I be able to stay in business? That's a great question. That's a good question to ask. Come up with the answer. This is going to be very different from 2008 because you were still able to do door to door. We will be able to do door to door again. Just a matter of time. And until then, use this as an opportunity to figure out how we can market, how we can build other marketing channels, how we can learn Facebook ads, go learn a commercial blueprint reading course, go educate yourself, make your business better so we're less reliant on door to door, but door to door will be back. And if we look at 5 years, like if you look at like the next 2 months, it's scary. But if you look at like the next 2, 3, 5 years, what can I do now that will make my 5 years kick ass? Right? This will be a blip on the radar over in a 5-year, frame of mind, 5-year context. So I would be thinking about that. I'd be thinking about how do I build a better business? How do I educate myself? How do I come out of this and kick ass? And how am I just going to keep building a better business? And that's what I would be thinking of. I'd love to hear what those opportunities are. Again, I think it's the opportunity is painting is not going anywhere. Our industry is still not very good, meaning there are a lot of people in business who shouldn't be in business. And there's a lot of businesses who are the really good ones and still aren't very good. And I would even put my business in that category. We have so much to improve on to being an extraordinary business. There is so much room to grow in this industry. The biggest opportunity is build a better painting business. There is so much work out there and it's not going anywhere. All these structures still need to be painted inside and out. The biggest opportunity for the people here is build a better business. Educate yourself, develop yourself, build your systems, be prepared, and just make sure you've got a plan for getting through it because we're all on pause. You're not falling behind. The only reason you're going to fall behind is if you're not taking advantage of the downtime and developing those systems and educating yourself to get ahead. Top 10 opportunities. I'm not going to really answer that because that's just not my thing. I don't know. I mean, there's probably a ton. It's kind of what I just said. Random. Someone had sent to me, I plan to keep my job and fund my business and crew. I would recommend, I responded to this person, but I said, don't fund anything. If you're needing to fund and put money into something, you shouldn't be doing that right now. You should be saving cash and cutting costs. If your business is operating at a loss, stop, cut costs, stop operating at a loss. All right. We need to make sure we protect our businesses so that we can provide jobs at the end. And we need to make sure we protect ourselves and our own cash to get through this without putting further burden on the economy. And while we're planning for that, we want to keep doing the best we can for right now, because this might not last that long and hopefully it doesn't. Hopefully we just kind of dip and kind of start coming right back out of it. My biggest learning lesson so far from this is, well, it's been a really good learning experience for me, just working myself through planning and preparing and staying informed and keeping my team informed, and a lesson in leadership and providing some certainty to my team and support to my team and doing things with integrity, being responsible for everything. It's been a good reality check that I think we all assume just like things are always going to be good. I don't think people were prepared for this. I will definitely be building war chest funds in all my businesses. So we've got a 6 months cash on hand in the future. I'm going to be a lot more smart with my own finances. I've been super aggressive with reinvesting money, and Painting Business Pro is a great business, but I have about $20,000 that goes out every month, and 13,000 of that is like reinvestment stuff. It's courses and consultants and people I hire for stuff. Like I've been spending money I don't have yet for a while, just reinvesting really aggressively to grow. and I will come out of this and be a lot more savvy with cash flow management and backup plans. I think those are some of the big ones. It's just not being so, I don't know, like lured in or attracted to growth and like at all costs, not so competitive about like, oh, I need to grow, I need to be bigger, I need to be bigger. It's like, no, let's build a very healthy business that's prepared for the downswings. And the other thing too is like we were very blind. Like if you just paid attention, you knew this economic thing was going to come. I didn't expect the virus part, but you know, we should have been a little more prudent about things. Okay. What questions do you guys have? What questions and comments do you have? Virtual estimate platform, you could do April. I don't have much other to comment on that. I haven't thought much about it. Okay, Robert, great ideas. Putting lawn signs all over. Again, and I would order lawn signs that have a new offer on them. You've got to give people a reason to transact right now. Even people who aren't that concerned right now would rather just, they would rather just wait. But if you give them a reason to not wait, the people who aren't that concerned right now will be like, oh shit, yeah, I'll just do it now if I'm going to save money. So I would, if you're going to do lawn signs, anything you guys are doing marketing wise, I would make your offer. Jeremy, Jeremy, do you have the Painting Business Pro course? Yeah, Jake, answer that question, Jeremy, and I'll come back to you. Yes, I'm definitely enjoying time with, honestly, I haven't had a lot of time with Josephine and Bella yet because the last 4 days has been insane for me. I've been nonstop, not just like staying ahead of this, making plans, talking to my partners, talking to my employees, laying people off, making new plans. I'm making new plans every damn day. And then I'm also talking to a lot of friends and people in the industry. I've talked to a lot of Painting Business Pro people. I've been on the phone like constantly for the last 4 days. So it's been a little crazy. Andrew, I don't have an answer for that, Andrew. Andrew asked, can I quickly go over how I'd compensate people for making cold calls to restaurants? I don't know. I don't have an answer. For now, what we're doing is we had 5 people going door to door. 3 of them aren't going anymore, and they're not making money right now. One of them was our marketing manager, CJ. We're still paying his full salary, and then one of them was Dunny, who's and those 2 are making calls. So they're just getting their salary still, and we're just trying to keep them busy. We'll see how long that lasts. And yeah, Glenn, basically 20% off. Coronavirus, 20% off. Same thing with Painting Business Pro. PPP stimulus package. 20% off yard signs. Yeah, great. Oh yeah. Okay. So how I'm saying it to people, Jeremy, is, so if I start a phone call, I'm like, hey, Jeremy, this is Eric with Foothills Painting. Got your information last week. We stopped by. You were interested in an estimate. Yeah, great. Well, I was just calling, man, to talk to you about setting up an estimate. Obviously, I've got a few updates for you about kind of how we're handling things with the coronavirus. So I just want to kind of update you on that first, and then we can talk about an estimate. Sound good? Okay, great. So first of all, what we're doing for clients right now is we're offering 20% off to all of our customers right now. We employ a lot of people, and we're doing the very best we can to keep people at work and keep people busy and working and bringing in income, just to really minimize the impact on our economy as much as we can. But of course, we're really committed to doing that in a smart way, in a very healthy and responsible way. So what we're doing is, you said you were looking to get exterior painting done. Okay. So for exterior painting, what we're doing is for our estimates, we're recommending that we don't come in the house. So we'll come out to do the estimate. We'll meet you outside and we'll walk around the house together and do the estimate all outside. We're also recommending that we follow CDC guidelines and keep at least 6 foot distance between us as we do the estimate. Of course, if anyone in our company is showing any symptoms at all, they won't be doing any work or interacting with any customers. So that's kind of how we're planning on handling that right now. Do you have any questions or concerns that I can answer for you, or does that sound good? That sounds good. Okay, great. So let's kind of dive in here. So tell me a little bit about your project, and then I'd continue with the initial phone call. And then I would go on with the initial phone call, and instead of saying, instead of it being 5%, 5%, I'm doing 10 and 10. So Andrew, if they're not on salary, man, you just maybe pay them per estimate, pay them an hourly wage, whatever you think. When we do estimates, just email them. Yeah, Glenn, we'll like write it up, we'll email it over, and then they pull it up on their computer or phone. We pull it up, we're sitting in chairs across from each other, and we're walking them through it. And then they're signing digitally, or they're signing it and handing it over, or something like that. Let's see. What's been your pitch cold calling realtors and general contractors? It's the same it's always been. You guys looking for a painter? You need a painter. That's about it. We are postponing interior estimates, Bruce. We're making that recommendation if people really, really want or need to get it done because they're moving or it's pending the sale or they absolutely need it done. We're doing that for them. Let's see. Forced to because you're actually sick. Yep. Yeah, dude, for sure. And even if you're not, I just got a text while we were on this. One of my employees missed our conference call this morning. She woke up with a sore throat. Our salesperson is sick. Doctor says not the coronavirus, but she's staying home. And she has 5 estimates tomorrow. No one else can do them. So I'm actually going to text back real quick. Sorry. All right. Okay. What else we got? Bruce, take care of yourself, dude. Don't go spreading that shit around. All right. Did bring a PM on last week, so I'm turning him into a marketing machine. His experience in dry cleaner, food, dry cleaner, something, landscape sales. Your PMs must be leasing. Actually, our production managers are the busiest because we can still paint. I mean, we have $700,000 of exteriors lined up. We're just doing them. There's very few people who are postponing their exterior projects. We were about to hire 2 salespeople and a couple production managers, and all of them, we went into their final interview and said, hey, we will do your final interview, but we aren't going to bring you on. If we want to hire you, we'll call and tell you when we're ready to hire you. That's correct, Jen, taking an extra 10% off prices. And that is, yeah, you're correct. We're doing no interiors unless they're basically demanding it. And they're comfortable and our salesperson is comfortable. And like the most important thing right now is just respecting people's concerns. So John, stock opportunities if you have an emergency fund that will last you. If you start putting extra cash you won't need in the stock market. No, it's about 30%. That could be the bottom, could jump back. It also might drop a total of 60%. I'm not going to give financial advice, and I would talk. Yeah, I do not endorse what John is saying. Not because I got anything against you, John, or because I don't trust you, but I don't know anything, and I think it's dangerous to play a stock market game if you don't know what you're doing. I think it's kind of like gambling. If you don't know what you're doing, I think you should be very cautious. But I'm not a financial advisor. I don't think John is either, but I appreciate the 2 cents. If you're afraid to, and I didn't read your whole thing, John, so I know you kind of backed this up. If you're afraid to lose or don't invest because you don't know when the bottom is, you miss out on the potential gains. You just don't tie up cash. You can't sit on. Yeah, that's definitely an opinion. You guys can make your own financial decisions there. I just would be very prudent and very cautious. I never have said, I've always thought, so someone asked, I'm doing most new construction. Is that a good idea to stick with that? I have always said that you should not do new construction. There's more money in repaints. The margins on new construction sucks. So I've always said, don't do new construction. The exception is custom homes. You occasionally you can get in with a builder where you can make really good money on that. Okay, guys, here's I'm gonna make a last call for questions. So any questions that are not asked in the next 4 minutes, I'm not going to answer. It's 1:16 by 1:20. No more questions will get answered. So drum them up right now. Mark said we do a lot of work for realtors. What have you guys seen happening to work tied to buying and selling homes? I don't have enough data on that, Mark, to say. You probably have a better idea than I do. Yeah. Sorry about that, Mark. We're testing them, Glenn. Facebook ads. What you've been doing there? We're testing them. I've never made them work. Now's an opportunity to see if we can make them work. But I think in general, all marketing is going to be less effective right now because there's just a large percentage of people who are not going to be doing things. We saw a huge drop off yesterday with Painter Choice. Okay, guys, so what we're going to do, you could try AdWords. We're doing AdWords, but that's what we do with Painter Choice, and that's what got crushed starting yesterday. We are paying our subcontractors less. We let all of our subcontractors know that we're going to be charging less money just to try to get more work. And so we're going to be paying a little less money out as well. I target a lot of neighborhoods that have older people. I know this is hitting their retirement plans, but is that a concern to you? No, it's not. Again, there's still a ton of work. I'm going to go get it. Glenn, you're making an assumption. Glenn said, so if AdWords got crushed, what makes you think Facebook won't get crushed? I never said I don't think Facebook won't get crushed. It probably will get crushed. I think I actually even just said that. I think all marketing is going to not be as effective right now. But we don't have another option, man. I mean, we were doing 40 estimates a week from door to door, and we're not doing that now. So we're just trying things. Yeah, we're just testing things. I'm not throwing thousands of dollars at it, but that's a good question, Jen. Do you think we should pre-buy paint? I don't have an answer. If you can, so here you just got to weigh. How I would think about that, Jen, is I would weigh the pros and cons of it. So if let's say I pre-buy paint, if I pre-buy paint, I can paint longer and bring more money in. But if I pre-buy paint and then there's like a shutdown where I'm not allowed to paint, that's a bunch of paint that I'm just sitting on, which ties up cash. So I think I would, I think I probably wouldn't. It's kind of the same reason why I'm closing door to door is like 1 week isn't going to make the difference. You know, if I can paint houses for 1 more week, it's kind of irrelevant because if this only lasts 4 weeks, I'm going to be good. If this lasts 3 months, that week won't make a difference anyway. Again, I'm thinking like over a course of 5 years, extending this 1 more week is really insignificant. No, you're not a big fan of Yelp. We tried some experimental marketing with them and have received 3 calls, booked 2 jobs in the past week. I think they may have undergone some changes. Just thought you should know. Thank you for sharing, Nathan Brown. My buddy, it's not that I'm not a fan of Yelp. I think it just takes some work getting it going. But yeah, I have one of my best buds. He does like $1 million a year just on Yelp. Nancy, we pay 50% of our price to our subcontractors and they buy the paint. All right, guys, it's 1:20. Questions end here. All right, so here's the deal, guys. Carl's going to be setting this up, but I'm putting this in the chat right now. If you want to get the Painting Business Pro courses, I'm discounting those 20 to 25%. So you can invest in your education, invest in building your systems, invest in your business. Please do not buy the programs if you cannot afford to buy them. But if you can, I strongly recommend them. Carl just dropped the links in there too. We will send out this recording. We will post this recording on YouTube. We will share it. If you found it useful, share it with people you know who will find it useful. And just to wrap this up, guys, can I hear from you guys? What are you taking away from this? What, do you feel better? Do you feel worse? What are you taking away from this, whatever hour and 20-minute conversation? Everything gonna be sweet. Good, man. Good. Dude, this too shall pass. Even if it's bad, it's not bad. It just means we get more time with our friends and our families and sleep. And biggest takeaway for me is take the emotion out of it. Lay off, cutting vendors, paying sublet. It all sucks, but it's do or die. And it sucks, but also it's just what's happening. It's just what's happening. I feel better. Always opportunity out there. Learn from it, update systems, be stronger. Love the healthy business insight. Stay in the game, be more prepared. Feel lots better from this because it's all about learning, no stress, but hang out more time with family, train harder, sleep, slow down for a second. It's kind of nice, guys, when everything is normal, you have to work your ass off to compete. But when nobody can work, it's like, sweet, I can actually just relax and not be worried about relaxing for a little bit. Fucking enjoy it. 5 years from now, nothing's going to be different. I'll just be reallocating my time on different things. Awesome. Whole thing about planning and what you're doing in real time. Just started my painting business and was not thinking this way. So like where your head's at. Good, Malachi. Did I say that right? Is it Malachi? All right, who else, guys? Kitty O'Mara quote's awesome, isn't it? It's awesome. I'll send that out too. Malachi's a sweet name. All right, guys, what else? I appreciate the feedback here. Good, Andrew. Yeah, sell by sell on the MVP. Good stuff. Okay. All right, guys. It's all going to turn out. Take it one day at a time. Be prepared. Be smart. Hey, Jane. Yeah, this too shall pass. So enjoy it. Enjoy the slow times. Thanks, Andrew. Never heard of Bella Bartok. All right, everybody. Holler at me if you need anything. And we'll talk soon. Thanks for joining. Good. Thanks, Andrew. Bye, guys.